Good evening. Today is Thursday, August 20th. It is now 5:30. It's a regular council meeting for the Marion City Council. At this time, we'd like to do a pledge of allegiance. Remove your hats, please, and here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Ms. Pazor.
Here.
Ms. Etzel.
Present.
Mr. Spinks.
Present.
Mayor Buska.
Present.
Mr. Crawford.
Present.
Mr. Abo-Osley.
Here.
Mr. Draper.
Here. Now defer the moment of silence to Councilman Spinks.
Okay. Would you please observe a moment of silence with us all? Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, we have a proclamation. Is there anyone here on the Lynn County Veterans Affairs? And here, I'll read it from the podium, from the council here. Proclamation, whereas the Lynn County Veteran Affairs, in partnership with the Cedar Rapids Metro Area Veterans Council and the Iowa City VA Medical Center and the Lynn County Continuum of Care, will hold Lynn County's 10th annual Stand Down for Homeless and Near Homeless Veterans and Non-Veterans. And whereas the stand down is a term used in times of war in which exhausted combat units come off the battlefield to rest and recover in a place of safety. And whereas, according to the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, the first stand down was organized in 1988 by a group of Vietnam veterans in San Diego. And whereas today, stand down also refers to a community-based program that provides and assists homeless and near homeless veterans to transition to community living by providing access to human service agencies, including benefits counseling, Social Security and benefits, unemployment, training assistance, eye exams, screenings, healthcare screenings, housing services, legal assistance, mental health treatment, and substance abuse counseling. Whereas stand downs have been used as an effective tool in reaching out to homeless veterans nationally, reaching more than 200,000 veterans and their families. I, as Mayor Marion, hereby proclaim September 4th, 2015 as the 10th annual 5 Seasons Stand Down. Thank you. At this time, do we have any citizens to present or comment on anything that is not in tonight's agenda? May you raise your hand. Be called. Sir. Ma'am, go right ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to mention that
ma'am, we need a name and address, please.
Susan Kling, 2790 Brandon Court, Marion. Thank you. I just wanted to mention, I'm here representing the library board, and I just wanted to mention that you should all have the packet that Doug prepared for you as a result of something that the mayor asked for last night, which is the cost-benefit side analysis that provides all the alternatives examined for the cost-benefit analysis, and also the statistics are attached to it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
Good evening, Your Honor, members of the council. I'm Steve Stefani, 4361 Fox Meadow Drive Southeast, and accompanying me is
Rob Peck with Design Dynamics, 5780 Hundredge Drive, Cedar Rapids.
And I am here. I've been asked to come to talk about the project that we have underway at 1204 7th Avenue in Marion. And specifically, we're talking about the exterior application or the exterior elements of the stone and brick. The appearance of the building is not going to be changed at all. Originally, when we submitted the plans in the revised plans in April, we had spec'd on the blueprint different thicknesses of stone.
Precast stone and brick veneer.
Sir, who's your sidekick?
This is Rob Peck. This is my architect.
Thank you.
He's the one that drew all the really neat stuff that you guys liked. And so when the drawings were submitted, we didn't anticipate or didn't appreciate a change that was necessitated when we put in the sidewalk last winter to accommodate pedestrian traffic during the holidays. The sidewalk was poured all the way to the building. That, in a nutshell, that took away an intended foundation ledge in the footing that would have supported the weight of the full-size stone and full-size brick. So, because of that, then it was needed to change from a full-size cast stone to a stone. What do you call it?
Thin set.
A thin set stone
Brick.
and a thin set brick. These are real brick, and I think you've seen some of the stone that's up there. The stone actually that's up there is prettier than the one that we originally designed, just so you know, but because it could come in a thinner gauge. But it'll be mortared, and so its appearance will not change. I mean, the appearance of the building will be the same, but whether you have a full-size brick layer between people viewing it and, the fascia of the building, you won't. It'll be about a 3.5 inch. Is that about the size of it?
The thickness is a little over an inch, inch and a half.
But the appearance, we've got some photos of other exemplars of that type of the material, and the exterior appearance of it just is no different than if you're using the full-size stone. But we will be able to apply this now because of that change that was necessitated by the sidewalk.
So this is a change, and it's approved by the city. You're just telling us?
Well,
or
it's not
what
completely approved by the city right now.
has not been approved?
No,
yet?
because I've had some issue with the stone we obtained from Stone City, and it's a quarry. So they don't really, they're not really, quote unquote, a manufacturer of the stone. Our mason has applied it in the manner that he's been told, and he's worked with other masons that applied it. And we've had I've got to get some better information to Gary Hansen as to that his application process is suitable. If not, if I can't obtain that, then we're going to probably have to make some modification of the stone that's already applied.
Sure.
But Gary and I are working closely on that.
All right.
Do you want to see other exemplars?
Well, I have a question. When did you first realize this? When did you know
When did
that-
I first realize
that
it?
you- Well, yeah, you're the builder. When did you realize that it was going to be veneer brick?
Well, both applications are called veneer. That's where I was always told it was going to be veneer. The
But
original
what-
application was a veneer.
1 inch brick?
Is a veneer.
Right, I know. So you've always intended it's going to be 1 inch thick brick on that building?
No, but the original was a 3-inch veneer.
I mean, I guess I would assume that you would just put complete brick on there, a complete brick.
Problem is the weight.
I understand, but you're building a 2-story building that is supposed to be substantial, that's supposed to last a long time. What's the durability of 1 inch veneer brick?
There's several larger brick manufacturers that have specific thin set systems. It's essentially applied to the building, and then it's tuck pointed, so it's mortared and everything.
No, I understand that it will look, I'm talking about how long will it last? Will this building, will it last for 100 years, or?
Is there any difference in the durability between the thin set brick and the?
I don't believe so.
Right. I don't believe. My understanding is the durability of the because they're okay. A full-size brick layer would have been actually not having OSB on the exterior and building a brick building. Anything absent that is a veneer, which is, this building was always intended to be a veneer. So whether that, the reason, and the,
That's the first that I've heard that, though. You know, that was going to be veneer.
well, I can appreciate that, because honestly, I didn't appreciate that until I had to learn this whole issue in the last couple of weeks. They both are, because if you look on the original plan, it's a brick veneer. This is a
The
thinner.
the sidewalk couldn't have been, nothing could have
We'd
been
have
done.
to destroy
accommodate-
we'd have to
I mean, it's
destroy.
hard for me to believe that that's the reason, that it's just a sidewalk. I'm sorry. It's
Oh,
hard for
Rob,
me
you
to
want to
believe
speak to that?
Well, yeah, with the sidewalk there,
How mu-
essentially the support for the brick has been taken away, is gone.
that can't be cut away, or
Yeah, you could by removing the sidewalk and get back to
you have to remove the whole sidewalk? The entire sidewalk?
Well,
I'm not a construction
that
expert.
would
so-
be, you'd want to remove enough that when you replace it back, that you're not jeopardizing the sidewalk.
How much would that?
I don't know, 3 feet probably, around the side.
Isn't that worth it to do it right?
Well, it further increases our costs. I mean, what we were trying to do was create a situation that, you know, we've had a number of cost overruns to begin with. We put the sidewalk in because there was a lot of, you know, there were a lot of requests. I mean, we stood here and talked about the sidewalk, and that it was to be in by holiday, or before the holiday shopping season, and we tried to accommodate that. Now, our position is that, I mean, this is not going to affect, it's not going to affect the durability, it's not going to affect the appearance of the building, and
I can't believe that's going to look the same as regular brick. I mean, I see the veneer that you put on
well,
that
there's
one
other
spot in the Maidright building, and that does not look to me like it's complete brick. You can tell it's veneer.
You mean that thin set brick that's thin set brick on the.
That's not veneer,
No, that's thin set.
but that's different from what this is.
It's similar.
It's similar.
I mean, you look at that, and you can tell there's something different about that brick.
Well-
I do. I mean,
Well,
you know,
the
it's not,
Maidright brick, in fairness,
or that.
Councilman, the Maidright brick, the original Maidright brick, that mortar has eroded away so badly and the bricks have fallen apart that, I mean, yeah, it looks like new brick has been laid, but it looks like new.
No, I'm not
brick.
talking about the brick around it, or I'm just talking about that section. You look at that, whatever's on that wall, and you can tell it looks cheaper. It doesn't look like good brick. And to see that on a whole building, I don't know, it's disappointing to me, because it's been one surprise after another with this project. And, you know, I'm just keep wondering what's the next surprise.
Well, it's always hard, it's hard to anticipate surprises. But in this case, we feel that this is a good fix. It's not going to, again, what's going to really matter going down the road is the appearance of the building, the marketability of the building, and its durability. And this change should not affect any of those factors.
So I understand, but you are talking to the city, and whatever you do has to be approved, and
By
that's
the
that.
building department.
That's fine, that's fine, I understand.
When might we have a roof?
Next week, the roof trusses are being installed.
Thank you.
I think they're set for Monday or Tuesday.
While you're here, can I ask about the status of the cornices on the other building?
They're about 6 weeks out. In fact, they'll probably be 6 weeks out from tomorrow, because I just got the final drawings to finally approve. So I'll place the order tomorrow.
Did you bring those drawings?
No, I was not prepared to talk
That's
about
right. I mean, it would have been nice to see them.
I'm sorry. Well, I'll come to the next work session and we'll talk about that.
Will the bricks go all the way down to the sidewalk, or will there be something right at the base?
Well, the stone is at the sidewalk level.
Okay.
The stone plates, for lack of panels, I guess, and then the brick goes up for the first through the first floor. The second floor, I don't believe has brick, does it?
No.
So
Well, there's portions of it that do.
My question was, is like, you know, the water water will collect right there, and if it's, the brick is only an inch thick there, that it could undermine the mortar and all that. So you're saying there's stone at the very base.
And there is a slight gap at the bottom just to allow the sidewalk.
Yeah, you have to have expansion for thermal,
Frost, yeah.
but I was just thinking, if the bricks went all the way down to the sidewalk, then, or, even that gap, you'd get this water wicking up in behind them and things. But you're saying there's stone that's
I don't
down
think we
in
have
there.
brick going to the sidewalk
No,
on
right,
any of
it's-
the facets. I think it's
right.
all stone.
Oh, okay. So what's up there, that limestone that's at the base, that will stay,
Yes,
and the brick will be on top of that?
yes.
The company over that period of time would still be on that site, expected to pay $160,000 in property taxes. So it's not like they're walking away from that and aren't going to be paying any taxes on that site. This would be a rebate that would be provided over a period of time to let them phase in the taxes so that they don't go into a place and have their taxes triple or quadruple on them the instant they get their first bill.
That's the case for all three of these, is that correct?
Yeah, and I did get some information back from the county. The numbers that I was using for the APC Emirate and the Klingler facilities for the actual taxable values were pretty close to where it looks like they're actually going to come out within about $10,000 or so. And so the numbers are probably good as far as the estimates were put together. On the Marion Iron one that we'll be considering next, the actual assessment that they would be coming back with would actually be lower than what we originally anticipated, and so their intersection would actually take place at about 15 years instead of 20.
So the city finances will or will not take a big hit on this for deferring these then?
No, it's not a case where we're taking a hit. It's actually a gain over what we were going to be getting on the properties now. Like in the case of this property right here, we were getting somewhere in the neighborhood of about $1,800 a year in property taxes on this site. We're actually going to get $160,000 over that 20-year period.
It was more than 1,800 a year. Was it 18,000 a year? You said
No, it was
1,800.
1,800 because it was vacant land.
Oh, I see.
That was
Yes, sir.
vacant
Yes, sir.
commercial
Thank you.
commercial land.
Thank you, Lon.
This is just a wild question, but do we have some type of a clause that if after we're giving this tax increment, after let's say they sell the business after 12 years, is it terminated? Doesn't carry on to the next individual, or what happens?
It has the ability to be assigned to the company that would buy that property from them. Our obligation was to make sure that, I guess I interpreted it to make sure that when they moved into that property that they had the ability to phase those taxes in over time. Depending on what the county does with assessments, that number still could intersect before 20 years, and then the last several years of the agreement wouldn't need to be applied.
But couldn't they, let's say the scenario is that they move out after 12 years and somebody else moves in, couldn't they apply for a new TIF on it?
No, the limitation for what we can do on it legally is 20 years. If they wanted to apply for another one on it, they would actually have to do something to improve the property, and then they could only apply for anything on that new increment. Like
On
if
the
they
new
put
new part,
if they add
okay.
10,000 square feet, we could only do it on the new part.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? This is for Resolution 24783. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
And I'm abstaining.
One abstention. Councilman Spinks.
Resolution number 24784 of intent to approve requests for the use of tax increment financing from the Marion Commerce Corridor Urban Renewal Area for the relocation of Marion Iron located at 4000 3rd Avenue, Marion, the Marion Iron Company.
Second.
Motion is made and second for Resolution 24784. Discussion? All those in favor of Resolution 24784 signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Councilman Crawford.
Yes, this is resolution number 24785 of intent to approve request for the use of tax increment financing from the Marion Commerce Corridor Urban Renewal Area for the construction of a new facility for Klingler Paint and Decorating located at 4281 3rd Avenue, Marion. This is Abode Construction, Inc.
Second.
Motion is made and second for Resolution 24785. Discussion? All those in favor of Resolution 24785 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I'm abstaining on this one, too.
And another abstention. Councilman Nick Avalosely, please.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve resolution number 2786, expressing support for maintaining 5 Lynn County supervisors.
Second.
Motion is made and second for Resolution number 24786, expressing support for maintaining 5 Lynn County supervisors. Discussion.
Yes, sir. I don't know why we're jumping into some other governmental agency.
My feeling was that it has a direct effect on us. We can all remember back when we had 3 in Cedar Rapids. They and Mr. Beck gave us the dump north of our town, which is going to cost us millions and millions of dollars over the life of it that we're not going to be able to expand to. We did not have a spokesman in that organization, truthfully, till Loomer Dostal came aboard. He being a rural person, he saw that some dollars did go to the rural area more than all going to Cedar Rapids. And I had asked Lon to just give us a brief background in the last, since we've had 5, of what has happened in the city of Marion.
One of the first things that happened was we saw an increase from Lynn County in the amount of funding that went to Medco to an amount that was more commensurate with what they were donating to Priority 1 on an annual basis, on a per capita basis. Prior to that, we weren't receiving anywhere near that amount of funds. We've gotten support for projects that we've done, like our Great Places applications, Vision Iowa applications that we've put in. We've also received direct financial support for projects like the amphitheater and commitments for the Art in the Alleys project. Lynn County has really actively pursued the Prospect Meadows project, which has the potential to be a huge economic driver for Marion. I would say, from what I've seen, and I wasn't here for, all of the years before that, but Marion has developed a much stronger, in my opinion, relationship with the county by having a supervisor that actively represents our district than would have been possible before.
Well, I didn't really mean to give the impression that I was anti this, but we wouldn't have gotten this big explanation had I not brought that up.
Not only that, there's something else too. There's also our present supervisor has highlighted the recreation areas on Highway 13 up and down from basically from Cedar Rapids all the way north to Central City and above. So I think we're getting more bang for our buck. I know there's a movement to cut it back to 3. That's where we're talking about this. Perhaps saving money, but I think we spend more on paint than we could save on the money. So I think that's fine. So I think that the rural areas of the county really do benefit from these 2 extra supervisors. Any other discussion? All those in favor expressing support for Resolution 24786 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? At this time, we have a mayoral appointment.
Yes, Your
Councilman
Honor.
Spinks.
I move to appoint Molly Lorenz to the Zoning Board of Adjustment, term to expire 12/31/18.
Second.
Motion is made and second for an appointment to the Board of Adjustment. Discussion?
Is she
Your Honor.
knowledgeable of adjustments?
I have spoken to her. She's qualified.
Okay.
All those in favor of this particular appointment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Yes, sir. believe you remember the last meeting, Mr. Schlegel came and complained about the motorcycle noises, and I've had calls about the shrieking of these vehicles that you can hear 4 and 5 blocks away. And I don't know if any tickets have been written on them or whatever, but they are in violation of noise ordinance. And I think that we should be a little more forward as far as stopping them. At least it's annoying. So would you please take care of that? Thank you. Also, I'm getting a lot of calls on fire pits, and I think it's because it's been so muggy and the atmosphere has been so low, and the smoke is really, really affecting a lot of people, especially anybody with breathing problems such as asthma. And if we're going to stop smoking in the park where they've got certainly a lot more area for the smoke to go, and we don't do something about fire pits, which when the wind changes, people have to close their windows and don't have the opportunity to enjoy fresh air. I don't know if you guys want to address that or not, but I'm getting a lot of calls on that. And maintenance on City Hall. There's an awful lot of rust on the metal on the outside projections. How difficult would it be to get some Rust-Oleum or something and correct the rust spots? We may have to tear the building down if it doesn't, you know.
Did this year?
Targeted. Go ahead.
Okay.
Joe?
Couple of things. First, since we had a discussion of the supervisors, thanks, Mr. Olson, for attending the meeting tonight. I appreciate your support. I had a chance today to do the opening remarks for the American Public Works Association at the Long Branch, and there was 150 people in attendance. And Jill...
What does that stand for, Joe? You told him.
I won't say that one here. But when Nick and Jill went through the chamber and the Medco talks, I was sitting back in the back, and you could hear the people going, wow. And a couple of the guys said, man, you guys are really busy. And so, that I think that we impressed the heck out of these. These are engineers from all over Iowa is what this is, the engineering association. And so there was 150 people at that meeting from all over. And so your folks did a good job, Lon, including Lon. Lon did an excellent job of presenting the city, talking it up as well. So we got a lot of, sitting in the back, I got to hear a lot of good comments about it. And then finally, the Saturday is the quilt walk, so get out and get your favorite quilt out. And I'm not sure exactly what all it is, but it's a chance to get downtown and see the local businesses, so I'd urge you to get out and do that. And with that...
You wear your quilt like a Superman?
Well, I wondered if it was a quilt like the Scots wear.
The kilt.
Oh, that's a kilt. Go ahead.
Oh,
sir.
a kilt, okay.
Oh, please, no.
Do they sell those at Lillian's?
No.
Okay.
I too want to thank Brent Olson for being here and for all the support that I know that he gives Marion on the Board of Supervisors, and I know that they're all supportive of Marion, but Brent, I think, is it's an advocate for Marion and everything that he does, and I just want to say thank you. I think everybody could tell I was disappointed in the presentation at the beginning of the meeting, and I hope everybody shares the same disappointment. I think when somebody is going to build a building that's going to be, in a very visible spot in our community, in our uptown, I think, and not just uptown, anywhere, we should be asking for the best from them. We should be asking for their best for Marion. We've had many examples of getting what's just good enough. And, we've accepted that in the past. I don't think that we should be accepting what's just good enough. And this project, if you make an exception and accept what's good enough, it is going to set a standard at a time when we're seeing a lot of interest in development. It's not like this is the only building that's going to be built and then we have a long time. I mean, there's a lot of interest in development in Marion right now, and there's a line of people that are looking at doing projects. And, we can set the bar, and especially when the city is a participant, we ought to set a high bar, and we ought to ask for their best and accept nothing less. And I think, just the constant changes in that project are just, it's very disappointing. So I hope that we really stand up and ask for what was promised, what was represented to us was going to happen, and demand that. Thank you.
Make a point regarding that. Essentially, this evening, if Mr. Stefani gets the building everything he needs, somehow he gets through the concept that what he's proposing will work with the design standards, he will be coming back for a development agreement. He could potentially be building something contrary by virtue of not having a conversation about whether that's an authorized material or not, consistent with the development agreement. The council is going to be in a position when they do ask that there's potentially going to be the whole facade could be done the way that they're proposing. They're going to be coming and asking that question. That's where we stand at this point. Now, I will tell you that the planning department, I will tell them that that's not an authorized material, in my opinion, and the zoning board will have to take, which could take up to 30, 60 days to do. That's the position we would be in. So the problem with the development agreement comes forward unless there's an issue.
And just so the council knows, it's not my intention to lift the stop work order on the exterior of the building until we have that interpretation done. At this point, with the constant changes in the building and with the change in materials to the outside, I have to look back and see what my recommendation to the council would have been had the project originally been proposed that way. And I would not have proposed to the council that we enter into a development agreement with anything like the magnitude of what we're talking about now, primarily because I don't think, one, it's not a good investment for the city to put money into a building that, in my opinion, would not be up to the standards of construction for all the other structures in Uptown. I think that type of material is fine if it's going to be an accent on a building that's using architectural steel or something like that, but to have it be the primary material, despite the comments here tonight, I'm not convinced that it has the longevity of brick. A brick building should last 150 years. This type of material, I would be surprised to find it has a lifespan, an expected lifespan or design life of a third of that. And then we have to think about the issue of fairness, because just down the street we have the PDS investment building that he came in, told us what he was going to build, built to his plan, built it to full brick, and actually received less than was originally proposed for the Capitol Commercial building. The reason that we approved the amount for it that we did is because that original building was larger than the PDS investment building, and it was a larger investment. At this point, the building is smaller, and it's being proposed to be constructed to a lower standard of construction. And I can't, in good conscience, tell the city council that we should put one dime of city money in that building unless it's built to the plans that we already have on file.
I would echo Councilman Nick's concerns, but the question I have, Tom, in building, if they answer everything you've asked, can they start to work again? If they come in and...
Microphone, Gary.
Exercise, Dan.
The building department would honor planning's request to not have it. We have to have an approved plan. So if he's submitting something that planning is not going to approve, then I would not be able to lift the stop work order. If he met all of my requirements and had planning on his side, then I would be able to do it. Just so that you know, too, and you've probably been told this many times, is the building code is a minimum code. You can build better than the minimum. And whether he does, meets the minimum, or if we're requesting something above that, then that's, planning and the board's and the council's decision. But at this point in time, we would not remove the stop work order unless planning accepts the design as he's proposing.
I have a question. In your opinion, that subfloor has been in there a long time, subject to the weather and rain and.
Right. We have discussed that with him. We have told him that once he gets the roof on, gets it totally enclosed, gets it dried out, we'll have to go back in and we'll have to look at the structure. One point in time when I was in there and it was very wet. I mean, it was in the spring when it was raining a lot. And I was in there and there was a lot of water in that basement. And there's a lot of moisture on the floor system. Now, whether that dries out totally, it could. It may not. We'll have to look at that once the structure is completely enclosed and it's dried completely out.
Is there a concrete floor in the basement?
Yes. And there is a sump pump down there, which needs to be corrected as well. It does not go to the right place. It's supposed to go to the storm sewer, right? But underground, or to a tile. Yeah. I've been told it doesn't go to the right place, so that's
Goes to the right place.
all right. Anything else?
Yeah, I was just
go
wondering,
ahead.
is there anything the city could have done to catch this before now?
I don't really know that we could have done anything any different. I mean, as soon as we found out that the product he was installing was not what was originally planned, we pretty much stopped it, and there's still some installation questions on that product that he's put on there. So until we get those resolved, he can't do anything anyway. But I don't know that I don't think we would have caught anything any quicker. And I don't know how you encourage somebody to move along with their project. I mean, it's drawn on really a long time, and there's been a lot of water in it, which is a definite concern of everybody's. But I don't know how we get him to go any quicker. Unless we want to do it ourselves.
I'll just comment. We just had a project with our family, and we had to work very closely with the building and planning and zoning. We had to work with everyone, and there were always questions and this and that. But if you are going to enter into something as big as these projects are, you had best, and this is my opinion, best do it right. Do it right. It was never the opinion of our family to do it less than whatever wanted to be approved. You inspected it all the time.
Right.
It was done proper. We never tried to skimp it. And I think you're doing very good holding the line. I appreciate both of you doing this. And Lon, I know has had some very, very tough negotiations with this individual. And then the bottom line is, there's going to be some things thrown at us, and we're going to vote them up or down. So thanks for your concern. Thanks for your help. I know that this is a real bump in the road, and it's a bump in the road for the city because everybody's driving by all the time. So I'd like to see this resolved.
I would also echo Nick's concerns about the Maid-Right building, and that is a kind of a gateway building to our people going to the east, and hopefully they've done what the state has asked them to do, and the facade will look good, and I have that hope anyway. We'll have to wait and see, but it's unfortunate. I think they're trying and to do things as well as they know how to do them, but it's not a good thing. I would encourage the council and everybody here to go to the library meeting. I'd like to see it so crowded they have to move it over here next Wednesday night. We have all the visuals and things here that could be used. Lon will go over the finances again at that meeting, and they're going to have visuals, which is something that I said last night, that I have a very difficult time without a visual of what this is going to look like, thinking that I like it or don't like it. So hopefully they'll be good, and we'll have that, and that'll go well. Encourage everybody to go to the park tonight, and I want you, as you're there, to look at the 150-year-old hackberry trees. Look at the depot, and by God, want to keep it. Thank you.
Finally, last Saturday, I welcomed one of the presidential candidates into town, and it was a very, very enjoyable event. I would hope that more candidates stop by our city. I think we showed very well. They enjoyed it, and we got a lot of nice press out of it. And if that continues, I think that's a good idea. So if you hear more coming, let's show some support.
Did you apply for vice president?
I haven't heard back yet from this one. Thank you.